This isn't the real Caesar's Palace, is it?
What do you mean?
Did Caesar live here?
No.
I didn't think so.
I went to Vegas last weekend. Pretty crazy.
Vegas, baby, Vegas!
Gentlemen, welcome to Las Vegas.
Why don't you give me half the money you were going to bet? Then we'll go out back, I'll kick you in the nuts, and we'll call it a day.
Some guys just can't handle Vegas.
Hey there, and welcome to episode number 39 of the Jeff Does Vegas podcast. My name is Jeff, and I am more than happy to be your host for this podcast adventure to what I like to think of as the greatest city on the planet, fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada. Before we get things rolling for this episode of the show, I want to thank my guest from the last episode, the owner of a Little White Wedding Chapel and a Las Vegas legend in her own right, Charlotte Richards. Having Charlotte on the show to share her story, talk weddings in Las Vegas, and give her tips for a long and happy marriage was absolutely amazing. If you haven't had a chance to listen yet, jump into the archives wherever you get your podcasts and search out episode number 38, Going to the Chapel, or head to the website at jeffdoesvegas.com and check it out there. And speaking of the website, thanks to everyone who's taken the time to hit the audience survey link to share their feedback with me. But I'm still looking for more. I want 100% honest opinions and thoughts so I can create a great podcast experience for you. So jump over to jeffdoesvegas.com and click that link now. All right, on to the show. We begin with Vegas news you can use. Resort fees are in the news once again as Caesars Entertainment announced plans to hike fees at 3 of their Las Vegas properties. As of October 15th, the resort fees at Caesars Palace and Nobu Hotel at Caesars Palace will jump to $45 a night, or just over $51 with taxes. At Off-Strip Resort The Rio, resort fees there will jump by $5 and tack an additional $35 a night onto your bill, or just shy of $40 with taxes. Caesars says the fee hike is aimed at bringing the resort fees in line with the charges at their competitors' properties in Las Vegas, and the move comes just 2 months after Caesars CEO Tony Rodeo said that the company needed to be cautious about their use of resort fees as a revenue stream. Classic rock show Raiding the Rock Vault is making the move from east of the Strip to west of the Strip. The popular production that currently calls Vinyl at the Hard Rock Hotel home will be relocating to Club 172 in the Rio as of January 11th. Now, this move wasn't really unexpected as the Hard Rock prepares to go dark in February for the changeover to Virgin Hotel Las Vegas with a scheduled December 2020 opening. Raiding the Rock Vault is no stranger to change either. Since opening in Vegas in 2013, the Rio will be the show's 4th Sin City home. The show opened at the Las Vegas Hilton, which later became LVH in the Westgate, and also spent time at the Tropicana before sliding over to the Hard Rock. The contract with the Rio is only a 1-year deal, so we could see another move by the show in 2021. For tickets and info on Raiding the Rock Vault, visit raidingtherockvault.com. And golf has been absent from the Wynn Las Vegas and the Las Vegas Strip for close to 3 years now, but it's back and it's very, very expensive. The newly reimagined Wynn Las Vegas golf course with its lithium battery-powered golf carts, professional caddies, and waterfall-adorned dramatic 18th hole will run you approximately $550 a round. The golf course at the Wynn shut down back in 2017 when then CEO Steve Wynn decided to replace it with Wynn Paradise Park. The plan was to build a new hotel, convention center, and entertainment venue whose focal point would be a lake with a white sand beach and water skiing. Now, not long after construction began, Steve Wynn was hit with sexual misconduct allegations, which he denies, and he resigned. Now, of course, the decision to scrap Paradise Park and reopen the golf course really comes down to money. In a recent earnings call, Wynn CEO Matt Maddox said the Wynn had lost 16,000 rounds of golf, along with the cash that goes with that, and an estimated $10 to $15 million worth of gambling revenue. And that's Vegas news you can use. On to the show. The topic for this episode of the podcast comes courtesy of listener Jacob Kehl from Denmark, who sent me a message via Twitter. He said, I really hope you'll do an episode with tips and tricks for the Vegas low roller. Food, drinks, gambling, shows, etc. Well, Jacob, your wish is my command. And joining me to talk about living life as a Vegas low roller is friend of the show, back for his second appearance on Jeff Does Vegas, Sergio Portazin, the creator of the website Viva Las Value, which we featured way back on episode number 14 of the podcast. Sergio and I talked about some amazing websites to find Vegas hookups at discounted prices, suggestions for great low roller hotels, food and drinks, ways to make your cash last longer when gambling, and how to generally make your bankroll go further on your Las Vegas vacation. Sergio is also kind enough to tease a few stories from his degenerate diaries, which you can read on the website at vivalasvalue.com. Please enjoy my conversation with Sergio Portazin. Well, Sergio Portazin, thank you, my friend, for taking the time to jump back on. I feel like it's been forever. The last time we talked on the podcast was all the way back in episode number 14 of the podcast. I can't believe that was 14. We are now at number 39.
Wow, time flies when you're having fun.
No kidding, no kidding. How have you been, my friend?
Pretty good. It's been pretty hectic starting a new job out in Colorado. So I moved, been getting settled in. So it's been going great. I love to be back in Colorado, which is also closer to Vegas than Nebraska. So it's really hard to complain about that. But it is easy to complain about the fact I haven't been since I went before my move at the end of June. So I'm itching to get back out there.
Well, I've had a few people that have contacted me and have said, Jeff, you really should do an episode about, doing a low roller Vegas trip. Because, not everybody going to Las Vegas is a whale. Not everybody's going out and dropping $1,000 a hand on blackjack or, blowing thousands of dollars on bottle service and high-end expensive restaurants and, hangover suites at Caesar's Palace and things like that. And I thought, yeah, you know what? I really should do that. And I know a guy that can help me out with that. It's a guy that runs a website called vivalasvalue.com. And I've had him on the show before, and his name is Sergio. So here you are back on the show. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's great to be back.
So I do want to talk about, again, doing the low roller trip and things like that. And I thought maybe we could start off by talking about, the pre-trip prep, what you have to do to get ready for a low roller trip. I know there's a lot of different websites and places and things like that where people can go and look for deals and search things out. So let's start there. What are some websites that people should maybe, check out and spots they should start maybe hunting around on the web for deals to save a little bit of scratch when they go to Vegas?
I would say, first of all, order the American Casino Guide and Las Vegas Advisor, which are both coupon books. The American Casino Guide you can get on Amazon for usually under $15, and the coupons in there easily will return that and more. And then the American Casino Guide or the Las Vegas Advisor you get through that website, lasvegasadvisor.com. You can sign up for a digital or print subscription to a monthly newsletter, which has some good values in it. But if you're as nerdy into Vegas as I am, it's usually stuff you've read before online, but it can be a fun little recap. Make sure you didn't miss anything. They'll publish like the top 10 values and different things like that, kind of show news and things like that, which is helpful. But the coupon book is really what does it. And there's some great ones in there. You can use the coupons at the Players Club for free play, and you get about $200 worth of free play between the two books combined, which is like under $50 of cash. So they more than pay for themselves. And they even have room discounts in there. But you want to order those in advance just so you have them shipped and they're there well before your trip, so you have them.
And so for the American Casino Guide and the Las Vegas Advisor with the print editions, do they put out a new one every year, or is it just kind of I know you mentioned with the Las Vegas Advisor, they send out newsletters, right?
Yeah, so there's a new print edition of the coupons every calendar year.
Okay.
And you can conveniently redeem one coupon per book per calendar year. So, just re-up them every year. if you've been going to Vegas for many years, you can get in on the train, or if it's your first time, it's a great time to start. I've been using them since 2013, and it's a blast.
And so what are some other websites that are, good spots for people to check out ahead of the trip to kind of do some pre-trip planning? Because I do find that, and maybe it's because I go so often, I can just kind of show up and I feel like I can just show up and wing it. But for a lot of people, I mean, Vegas is an overwhelming place. It's a big place. There's lots happening. This might be, either your first trip or your first trip ever or first trip in a long time. You really do need to kind of organize this stuff in advance ahead of time.
Absolutely. My main starting point that I like to go to is Vegas.com and just search the dates you'll be there for the hotel. And it'll show you results from every hotel and casino on the strip, downtown, off strip, in Summerlin, and all of that. And it'll just kind of be a useful price point to see what you're looking at. Generally, it should be like under 150 a night. If it's over that, the time you're looking at is probably kind of peak season, be it a conference or big sporting event or like the National Finals Rodeo, things like that. So if you're looking and the rooms seem exorbitant on Vegas.com, even at the lower end places, if you have any flexibility, I would encourage people to maybe look at a different weekend that would be cheaper. Uh-huh. But then from there, I like to go to the players clubs for MGM and Caesars Entertainment. And if you don't have one of those, you can sign up before you go, and you'll immediately unlock exclusive member rates that are a lot cheaper often than Vegas.com. So kind of go between those two and see what's cheaper. You get free cancellation up to like 3 days before you leave through them. So there's no real risk in booking through them, even as a placeholder. But I've found with Caesars especially that they've had some screaming deals lately, and you can get quote unquote comp rooms that you're only paying the resort fee on, which will add about $40 a night. That's, I think, the biggest pitfall for cheapskates like me going to Vegas, or people who are going for the first time or haven't been in a decade or two, is the resort fees. Almost all places now, since they're pretty prolific, will tack on anywhere from like $25 to $50 a night on top of the room rate as a resort fee that you pay when you get to the hotel. So even if you're booking third party through Expedia or any of those discount sites, the hotel still gets their share when you check in.
Right.
So watch out for those, and kind of, I would just say mentally add $40 to each room rate unless it explicitly says no resort fee, which to my knowledge, the only places that don't have it for, excluding people who are high up in the Players Club is Four Queens and Binion's downtown. And
it's interesting that you bring up about the new member bonuses for, places like Caesars and MGM, because I've seen that myself where, I've had friends that have asked me questions about, where should I stay? What should I look at? And the first question I always ask them is, are you a member of, Caesars Rewards or M Life or anything like that? And when they tell me no, I'm like, oh, you got to sign up right away, because a lot of them, it's like they're doing this to try to suck you in, right? They'll get you those super deep discounts or those, like you say, the quote unquote comp rooms just for signing up. They just want you to come to Vegas.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, seriously, to go to Vegas and not have a player's card is leaving money on the table. If you're staying at the hotel, you're probably leaving at least $100 on the table. My friend was looking to go, and he asked me, he's like, hey, I'm looking for this 4-day weekend. What can you do? He's like, I found this room for $350. I think I got a great deal. Like, see what you can find. I said, sign up for this player's card. Go to Total Rewards, or I guess Caesars Rewards now. They renamed it, but go to Caesars Rewards. He signed up and he got the same room for $120 a night, or $120 total. And it blew his mind. I mean, he hadn't even gambled there.
Yeah.
Just entering his email and getting the card saved $200 right off the bat.
Yeah. They just want you on their list so that they can, try to convince you to come back. And again, that's always the biggest thing. I always tell people, even if you're not planning on, being a Vegas regular or spending a lot of time down there, as you say, you're leaving money on the table if you don't sign up for one of these cards.
Yeah, I bring my mom out, and she's not a big gambler, and I made her sign up, and she got a free $10 table match play at Caesars when she signed up. And, you know, MGM gives you stuff on your birthday at the Luxor. You can spin the wheel and get free play. Like, you can go without putting any money in and still get the perks. You get discounts at the gift shops. Certain restaurants will do stuff. And of course, if you're a gambler, it adds up even faster. But absolutely everyone staying or playing in Vegas should have players cards.
Any suggestions for websites for things like show tickets or attractions or things like that? I mean, I know there are, if you just go on Google and search out Vegas attraction deals or Vegas show deals, you're going to get a ton of hits back. But are there any specific ones that you recommend?
I've had a lot of success with Groupon and Living Social. You kind of got to browse and find what works for you. Like a lot of kind of junkier places will advertise on there and try to make it sound like they have really good deals, but periodically the high roller will have discounted tickets through them. I know that zip line that they have at the link also pops up there quite frequently, but it can be a really good place to save on bars and restaurants. One of my favorites that I've done through Groupon, and it's almost always up there, is the Vanguard Lounge downtown. It's a craft cocktail bar. And they basically give you 50% off, so you can get a $40 credit for spending only $20. And periodically, Groupon will do like 10 or 20% off deals to further discount that. Banger Brewing downtown also pops up quite frequently, and you can get like a flight and a growler and some souvenirs pretty cheap. So I usually do that to save on kind of food and drink for places that I'd like to go. And then Travel Zoo also will have stuff. That can be some great deals. And in terms of show tickets, I usually wait till I get there because my plans in Vegas can change so much. I don't like to be committed to a show too far in advance. Mm-hmm. So I'll go to the Tix For Tonight's booth that are all throughout the strip, little kind of red and orange, yellow booths that'll sell tickets the day of the show at a pretty steep discount. So I like that for the flexibility. But you can book tickets through the Players Clubs as well at a nominal discount. Mm-hmm. But if any of the Cirque shows at the MGM properties appeal, going through the My Vegas can be a really great way to get free tickets or buy one, get one free, half off, heavily discounted things off box office prices.
Yeah, the Tix For Tonight is an interesting thing to mention, and I've had some really good luck with buying tickets through Tix For Tonight on the strip. As you say, I mean, you're wandering along the strip. It's not going to be very long before you stumble across one of these Tix For Tonight booths, and it's usually there's somebody out front trying to trying to drag you in to get you to buy tickets through them as well. And yeah, you can score some really good deals through them, and they don't just do show tickets either. They've gotten into doing, tours and buffet passes and restaurant passes and all kinds of stuff now that they've gotten into as well.
Yeah, they've got attractions. I mean, pretty much everything under the sun. If you're trying to fill a couple hours in Vegas and you don't know what to do, I would say going to Tix For Tonight and just talking to them to see what they have would be a great way to go. If you can get yourself out of the casino, which is my problem. I normally can't.
You briefly mentioned the My Vegas, and My Vegas is for those that don't know, is a Facebook game. And I mean, everybody's on social media, everybody's on Facebook. And that's all you need to play is a Facebook account. There's My Vegas, there's Pop Slots, there's My Konami. Worth playing, worth doing, you think?
I've got a lot of good value out of it. They do kind of consistently devalue it and ruin the rewards, kind of neuter it more and more every time. But you get free stuff, so you really can't complain about it too much. They do have a lot of the in-app purchases. They follow that model, but just never fall for it. If you're going to spend money on slots, do it in a casino where you'll win real money instead of digital coins that don't do anything.
Yeah.
But I've went to Love, Ka, Zumanity, got $25 of free play from them. I've gotten like buy one, get ones at buffets and stuff. So there's definitely some value to be had there. Getting kind of the premium rewards can be difficult. You got to really be on top of it. there's a Facebook group called My Vegas Friends that's really helpful. They have a refresh thread that once you accrue enough of the loyalty points to be able to redeem for prizes, they'll post when it refreshes, and then if you jump on right away, you can normally get something good.
There's a great website too that kind of goes along with My Vegas called myvegasadvisor.com. And I kind of stumbled across this one day. Somebody had posted about it in one of the multiple Vegas Facebook groups that I'm a part of. And this particular day, I don't know why, if it was a glitch or what it was, but it's all of the bonus links and the rewards links for bonus coins. I mean, every day My Vegas sends out an email for, My Vegas or Pop Slots or My Konami where, click on it and get, more coins to play on the slots. This particular weekend, it was like I don't know what happened. I don't know if, somebody went crazy or what, but it was billions of free slot coins. And so it was a really great way to build up build up your credits so that you can play, because of course, much like real slots, the more you gamble, the bigger the reward and the quicker you can move up and the more gold coins you earn, which you can then turn around and redeem. And I find the myvegasadvisor.com almost every day, there's anywhere between 1 million and 2 million points or coins that you can collect from that website, which again, like I say, that's a great way to start, moving up quicker within your My Vegas so that you can get those rewards faster.
Oh, absolutely. I still have coins from that like 3 billion coin weekend. It was a magical moment. But yeah, going to My Vegas Advisor daily and just getting the coins and kind of playing through them is great. I mean, it's, spend 5-10 minutes on it when you're bored at work, on a break, before bed or whatever, just when you're kind of on your phone dicking around anyways. Right. It's a great way to kind of get rewarded for it.
I find it interesting the way you mentioned about the My Vegas devaluing things too. And this is another thing that I've come across. If you're going to redeem My Vegas, any of those rewards from My Vegas or Pop Slots or My Konami, you need to do it before you go to Las Vegas.
Oh, yes. Yeah, you go there, it's a dead zone.
Well, and I guess from my understanding is because a lot of these rewards are, you can't be a local of Clark County or of Las Vegas or anywhere. So of course your phone has got your location on it, or your computer's got your location on it. They're tracking where you are. And so once you arrive in Vegas, forget it, you're done.
Yeah. And one other thing to note is that they now classify them as like premium rewards versus regular.
Right.
So the ones where you have to spend money like are regular, but where you're getting something truly for free is premium. So like if you're getting free play, or if you're getting a free show ticket or a free scoop of ice cream or whatever, those count as premium. And I believe you can only redeem like 3 premiums per month.
Yeah.
So you got to kind of be strategic with those. I definitely think the show tickets are where the value is, because in a surprising move for MGM Resorts, they actually don't hit you with any fees on it. So you truly do get a free ticket.
That's impressive, because I know, like, even obviously with the rooms, and I've redeemed rooms. I've been lucky enough to use, free rooms from My Vegas. I've had freebies and comp nights at Park MGM and the Luxor, and you do get good deals occasionally. And, sometimes it's like, oh, there's 2 free nights even at, Aria or something like that, but they're still going to hit you with those resort fees on that.
Yeah. But I mean, on the tickets, when you print them, it'll show, all of the fees and the ridiculous, bullshit charges that they come up with, but it prints completely for free. When you're looking at, I've seen Zumanity, Ka, and Love, and all of those were completely free. Saw Fantasy as well, the burlesque show at Luxor, which was actually pretty fun.
Yeah, if you can get your hands on any of the show tickets through My Vegas, is that's a deal in my opinion, because like show tickets, they are not cheap in Las Vegas the way people anticipate or have it in their head that the show tickets are flying around with the $3.99 shrimp cocktail. They are not cheap. So if there's a way you can save money on show tickets, this is a great way to do it.
Oh, that reminded me. Well, 2 things. First of all, Fantasy, they will let you bring your outside drinks in, They just won't let you bring in glass. So like the guy at the door was like, "Oh, you can't bring that in." And I was like, "Oh, sorry, I'll drink it fast." And he handed me a plastic cup. He said, "Oh, pour it and enjoy." So that's a nice low roller tip. Save the money on that. Just for some of the lower production value shows, they'll just let you in with whatever, as long as it's in a plastic cup.
That's amazing.
Also, another anecdote, when I brought my mom to Manilow, they let us in with drinks from the bar. So you can maybe save on the overpriced drinks there. But another real value on my Vegas, I went to Tournament of Kings at the Excalibur, which is love it or hate it. It's like a, medieval jousting show with horses, live horses and dirt and stuff. Yep. But they bring you a 3-course meal with it. And cheapskate tip like me, you get pop included, or soda for people who aren't from Minnesota. But they'll give you unlimited refills. So just bring in some shooters and pour them in. As long as you don't have any ethical qualms about getting drunk around many children and families. But I will say that I befriended all of the kids in my section because I was very loud for France. At the end, the grandma thanked me for enhancing the kids' experience. So, make a kid's day and smuggle in some whiskey.
I feel like that should be a slogan on a t-shirt, and it could apply to multiple situations.
I feel like that is also what would get me fired from my job, but I like the t-shirt more.
Any other websites or anything else that you feel people should kind of hit up before they head to Vegas, or you think we've covered most of the big ones?
I think those are the biggies that I go to every trip. But I think just reading around, the more experiences you can read, the better. Because the biggest caution I have, especially for first timers, is that the Strip is huge. And what seems really close on a map is really not that close, especially when you factor in the heat in summer, or the drinking, or whatever you may be doing, or trying to catch a show or meet friends. So really kind of knowing where you're at. A lot of places like to say that they're a Strip property, but they're really not. So like look at a map, truly understand where that is, and like see how many miles that is, because they can look close, but it can feel a lot further. Mm-hmm. And it's not fun to have to make 1.5 mile tracker to pay for a lift every time you're trying to meet your friends who are staying somewhere else. So right. Just kind of, and researching the experiences too. This is probably more relevant for people who maybe went, 20 years ago and haven't been back. I mean, places that used to be kind of nice might kind of be in the dump now. Mm-hmm. It's like the Rio is pretty run down. It used to be, the hot new thing back in the 90s, but now it's pretty old and dated. So just kind of reading recent reviews, and you can, if you care about room quality, you can go on YouTube and search for the room types and see walkthroughs that people have posted, which can be helpful to see what you're getting into. Mm-hmm. But just really, the more research you can do, the better, because it's kind of hard to give advice wide scale, because I'm always going to go for the cheapest room, so I have more money to gamble. I couldn't care less what the accommodations are like, but some people want the nice, luxurious experience, or to stay in something relaxing or quiet. So kind of knowing your preferences and reading reviews to find what's in line with those is going to make you the happiest.
So let's talk about some of those low roller recommendations then. Cause I mean, I know I have in my head when people will ask me, I'm not looking to spend a lot of money on X. So what do you recommend? So let's start off with, hotel suggestions for the low roller. What are some, we can talk both on strip and off strip, or whether, you recommend one versus the other, or what the situation is. But as far as low roller hotels, what would you recommend for somebody that's looking to save a few bucks on their hotel?
I would say my favorites on the Strip are under the Caesars Rewards umbrella. I like Flamingo, Link, and Harrah's in that kind of center Strip action. I love the location, and the rooms are nice enough. Planet Hollywood we can throw in there as well. Usually one of those four will have a pretty cheap, if not comped room offer, if you sign up and go through the rewards club. Link is my personal favorite, just because their cocktail waitresses will serve you a beer and a shot on the same order. Only casino I've found that will do that.
Right.
So keep the tips flowing and they'll keep the drinks coming. But yeah, that area is my personal favorite. It's kind of center strip in the action. You get to kind of feel like you're a higher roller than you are. And really you're just looking at the resort fees, which are kind of the second tier for the Caesars properties. You're not paying the really, really high ones that just went up. So, you can generally score those for under 100 a night, I would say, barring weekends or a busy time. But downtown is a great place for value. It has the Four Queens, which does not have resort fees. So you can often get good deals there. The El Cortez will often have cheaper rooms, and Fremont, Main Street Station, Golden Gate, you can get those at a deal quite often. It's kind of hard to say downtown. There's some more variability, but you can usually get some good rates there. And if you're a gambler, they'll generally throw you some comp offers, even with $5 red chip play, which is nice. Like I can get three free nights at the Golden Gate with my micro roller stakes, which is kind of nice.
I like how you've created a new level below low roller. You now have micro roller.
Oh yeah. I mean, people are like, oh, I'm a low roller. I'm only blowing 1,000 a day. It's like, what? I mean, I would say my average daily bankroll is like anywhere from 100 to 200 a day.
If 1,000 a day is a low roller, then yeah, I'm falling into the micro roller category with you.
Yeah.
As far as other low roller properties, like I know I've had a few people say, recommend the Excalibur or the Rio as low roller properties. What are your thoughts on those properties?
I don't want to offend any of your listeners who may enjoy the Excalibur, but I personally like to leave my hotel and feel cleaner than when I went there. And I mean, I've had some bad experiences at Excalibur, so that could be coloring it. Jokes aside of my degeneracy, I mean, the Excalibur is pretty far south. It's not really by too much. You kind of got to rely on taking the tram, and it's definitely dated. And the Rio, I'm actually staying at in December just because it was the cheapest, but that one is pretty far off strip for being quote unquote on strip.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think for me, there is a balance to a degree. I mean, Rio or Excalibur can be all right if you are absolutely trying to save every dollar, but I would say factor in transportation, where else you're going to be going, and just kind of the experience you want. Because, if you're saving $10 versus staying somewhere nicer, like, think of the value there. Mm-hmm. You might have a better time somewhere else. That's why the Link, Flamingo, Bally's, Harrah's, and Planet Hollywood is kind of the sweet spot for me, because I can still feel like I'm kind of classy and I'm not as cheap as I am. Kind of elevates the experience a little bit, but it's still totally affordable.
Yeah, I've had that same experience with staying at Luxor. I mean, it's again, a nice enough property. And I mean, I stayed there last April when I was in town for a conference, and, it was the cheapest place that I could find. And I stayed there specifically because it was the cheapest place I could find. And I was in town for a conference. But as you say, balancing the value versus balancing, versus the cost of what you're going to spend on, getting around and just that ability of, being able to walk out the front door, like you say, at a place like the Link or Flamingo or Harrah's, being able to walk out the front door and being in the thick of it all. There's restaurants, there's shopping, there's bars, there's everything right there, as opposed to walking out of the Luxor and having to go through, as you call it, the smoky pit of despair at the Excalibur, to then walk outside and go across the street to New York, or MGM or Tropicana or any of that stuff. You're right. It's important to find that balance.
Yeah. And it's going to be different for everyone. So like, you can't really give blanket advice here. I know some people go and they like to stay in their room a lot of the day. And so like, Winter Encore might be the best for them, because that is bar none going to be the best in-room experience. But for me, I go to gamble, to drink, and, sleep is pretty far down on my list. Like,
right.
I need a shower that's going to make me feel cleaner when I leave, a bathroom that works, and a bed that I can, sleep on for maybe 6 hours if I'm real lucky.
Right.
So I kind of being realistic about what you're going to be doing. If you're going for more of a staycation, treat yourself, spend a little more on somewhere you're going to enjoy. Cosmopolitan's incredible. My buddy likes to go there for my birthday. We kind of split a room there and kind of ball out and feel fancier than we are. So there's some value in that too. But if you're trying to just gamble or have, a guy's trip, like, don't spend too much on a room you're not going to be in. Like the Hangover penthouse you joked about earlier. Like, yeah, it's pretty cool, but in my mind, if I'm doing Vegas right, I'm only in my room to sleep.
So we've covered hotels. Let's talk food. This is probably one of my favorite topics in the world. There's some amazing restaurants. Las Vegas is a place where, celebrity chefs go. They bring their restaurants. They open them. They're expensive. They're high end. You've got Michelin diamond star restaurants. It's an amazing place for food, but at the same time, there are some incredible deals to be had both on and I found particularly off the strip. You for the low roller, the person that wants to save money, there's a lot of places that you can do that food wise.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's astounding how many good deals there are, or again, how fancy you can go if you want, or anywhere in between. A couple of my favorites on the strip first, because believe it or not, there are still some good values you can get on the strip. The best deal, in my mind, is the In-N-Out on the Link Promenade. You can walk over there and, you can get a burger and fries for like $6. And those burgers are great because they're greasy enough to cure a hangover, but they're light enough to not make you feel like shit. And those things are miracle workers. I can't tell you the last trip I didn't end up going there after taking advantage of the shot of Jack and bottle of Bud Lights at the Link. So, and the promenade is just kind of fun. That's one of those places where the atmosphere is a little upscale. So you feel kind of, you don't feel shitty about yourself going there. Some of the other places that I'll recommend, have a bit more of kind of a gritty, low roller feel. But the Link is just kind of a nice little place. Like you almost feel like you're in California or something. Another deal on the strip that can be pretty good is at Pinup Pizza at Planet Hollywood. And bear in mind, like the pizza itself is not that good, but it's massive. And they'll do a pizza and beer for, I think it's like $10 or $12, but it's like a 16-ounce beer and probably two slices of pizza. But my personal favorite pizza on the strip for value is at the Flamingo Food Court. Believe it or not, they have a 24-hour shop that has these massive slices of New York style pizza, and it's literally a quarter of a pizza that they cut in half. So you get two slices or a quarter of a pizza, and they're probably 20-inchers or something. They're huge. I mean, it's nice and greasy, and it's some of the best pizza that I've had. Not in terms of quality, but in terms of timing. I met a buddy at the Bird Bar where they have the 50-cent beers from 5 to 6, and he was just hammered and he needed some food in him, and I brought him there, and he was just eating this greasy pepperoni pizza, sauce is like dripping down his chin, and he just looked at me, he's like, "This is the best pizza I've ever had, dude, thank you." So I mean, for $9 that's a pretty damn good value. Does it compare to Pizza Rock downtown? Absolutely not. Am I going to say it's as good as Secret Pizza? No, not in a million years, but in the right mood, that's a pretty good value if you can't be bothered to go somewhere else.
I've been in that mood and I've been in that pizza place. I know exactly the place you're talking about. The last time I was in town and I stayed at the Flamingo, I ended up there, same deal. It was like 3:30 in the morning after a few beers. And yeah, this is exactly what I needed. And you're right. Like when you can stumble across a deal like that, that's you want to take advantage of that as much as you can.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's kind of one of those things where like you're paying for the convenience, but it's well worth it. Although funny story there, I wouldn't recommend going at like the bewitching hour of like 4 to 5 a.m. where like the East Coasters aren't awake quite yet. And it's really only the drunks and degenerates like me out there. I watched these two hookers trying to run a deal on this guy, and like one of them distracted him and the other was trying to pickpocket him, and it was pretty messy. It was also a bit of a low point for me because they had walked past me in the Link while I was playing like video poker or something, and they tried to come on to me and I was just like, no, I'm good. And then they recognized me over there, and I can tell you, being recognized by a hooker at 4:30 a.m. as you're eating a greasy piece of pizza Not a high point in anyone's life, but that pizza was the high point. I can tell you that.
What are some of the off strip spots that you recommend for the low roller?
So off strip, but very strip adjacent. It's walkable. I wouldn't necessarily do it at night, but it's a very cheap Lyft or Uber if you're in a group and want to split it or don't feel comfortable walking. But Ellis Island has some great deals on everything. That's probably, if I could pick my like embodiment of the low roller spot, it's going to be Ellis Island. I mean, they brew their own beer in-house. They'll comp it generously while you're playing. They got $5 3-2 blackjack. They got 9-6 video poker for jacks or better. And the beauty there is you can play nickels and they still keep the pay tables and they'll keep the comp drinks coming. But their cafe there is, I mean, it's pretty famous at this point for that Ellis Island steak special. But you throw $5 in a machine, print out your voucher, and you get it for what, $7.99? Yeah. And I mean, it's a damn good steak. Again, it's not going to win any awards, but for $8, you get a steak, a potato, some veggies, and it hits the spot. They have like half-pound burgers that are really good. It's just kind of that nice comfort food that's really good. They have barbecue there that I've heard rave reviews of. They have really good house-made root beer if you're into that. Drop a shot in there if you want to make it alcoholic. I've had Christina Ellis from Ellis Island on the podcast to talk about the place. And yeah, I mean, I've had a couple of amazing Ellis Island experiences. I mean, I went in there. My first experience was for prime rib at 2:00 in the morning, $14.99 prime rib for a piece of prime rib that's as big as your head with, mashed potatoes, vegetables, comes with a salad to start. Breakfast at Ellis Island, I went in there. It was $11 with a tip. I mean, $4.99 for French toast and $3 or $4 for a side of bacon. And it's like 6 pieces of bacon. The coffee is almost the most expensive part of that meal. I mean, I laughed when I spoke with Christine Ellis and I said, like, how do you guys make money? And then she reminded me they have a casino attached. So, but yeah, you're right. I think that is probably the embodiment and epitome of Vegas low roller and in the most positive way. Oh yeah. I mean, the Ellises just do it right there. It's the best. I try to go there every trip. I brought my mom, who's not a gambler at all. She's not into the seedier joints, and she just loved it. And also, talking about value, in the Las Vegas Advisor coupon book, they have a coupon for 3 drinks or 3 rounds for 2 people free that you can bring up to the bar, and you get 6 drinks. And they're just super laid back about it. They're like, "Yeah, tell me what you want. I'll remember you, come back." And I was drinking Maker's Mark. I got 3 shots of Maker's Mark for free. And then I went and gambled and got more. Then I went and had a great burger. You can't beat the place. That would be kind of my strip adjacent, but kind of standalone because it's so great. But then downtown, there is a ton of value down there. Apparently, I'm on a pizza kick, but there's 2 great pizza deals down there. You can go to Evil Pie for their happy hour, and you get a $5 slice and a beer. But my personal favorite, because it combines great food and great value, is the Pizza Rock happy hour. And they've got 2, I believe. I think they have one at like normal person happy hour hours. But then my personal favorite is the late night happy hour, which I think kicks in after like 10 o'clock, 9, 10 or 11 to close. And you can get these personal pizzas for like $5 or $6. And they are so good. Like, it's quality pizza. And they have one with like prosciutto and a balsamic glaze, and it's just like next level. Really discounted drinks, and they have these divine meatballs that you can get for like $3 or $4. It's some like quality food at a really good price. So I really recommend that. I stumbled into Evil Pie one night when I got taken downtown by a couple of locals that wanted to show me around, and we had a few different local spots, off the strip and around, and
Places like, Hard Hat Lounge and Dino's and real places where, you go with a local because you feel like if you went in there as a tourist, it would be like that scene in the movies where the strange person walks into the bar and everybody stops and looks at you.
Oh, yeah.
It felt like that, but we made our way downtown and we ended up at Evil Pie. And I can honestly say that in my mind, I think Evil Pie not only is one of the best values, but is probably some of the best pizza I have ever had in my life.
Is that Evil Pie or Pizza Rock?
Evil Pie.
Oh, see, Evil Pie is okay for me, but Pizza Rock is like, I dream of that pizza sometimes. I'm drooling right now.
I haven't done Pizza Rock yet, so I may have to add that to the next trip.
It is absolutely worth it. It's right across from the Downtown Grand.
I will add it to the trip and take your recommendation and try and hit it for a happy hour.
Oh, yeah. The late night one is my personal favorite, but, just make sure you get there. The key for that one, I'll say, they do sell by the slice out front where you don't have to wait, which is convenient, but the real, quality is in the restaurant. The slices there are decent. They're like $5, $6, but going into the restaurant and getting that personal pizza, it's like a sit-down thing. You can go to the bar and not have to wait. It's divine. I'm
adding it to it's on the list. It's going on the list for the next trip.
Tweet me when you go there because it's going to change your life.
Definitely. Any other spots downtown for food you recommend for the low roller?
Yes, I have two. If you're a Poutine fan, I was telling Jeff about this before we officially went on the air. Binion's Cafe has some of the best that I've had. I mean, it's simple, but they do it right. It's on the appetizer menu. It's $5.99, and oh man, is that a meal? I mean, I couldn't finish it off drunk one night, like in that drunk hunger. I couldn't finish it. So it is far more than an appetizer. But they have some really nice steak fries, and then just nice basic gravy. Not trying to be pretentious, but it hits the spot. And they just coat that thing in cheese curds. I mean, it's like molten. Like I burned myself, and it was so good, I just kept going. I just accepted that I was going to have a burned esophagus the next day. But it was damn worth it. It was so good. So that's a great value.
And it sounds like you're describing a legit poutine. Now for I've got listeners all over the world with this podcast, and outside of, a few select American people and the Canadian people, most people probably don't have any idea what poutine is. And if you've been to Vegas, some of the places that provide poutine, it's what I like to call fake poutine or pretentious poutine.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's not, real poutine it's fries, it's gravy, and it's cheese curds, and your teeth should squeak afterwards. The Gordon Ramsay poutine, I think the Pub and Grill has poutine. That is not poutine. That is whatever. I don't even know what that is. The Robert Irvine one that's like tater tots and braised Guinness rib meat on the, again, that is not poutine. That is a celebrity chef trying to do their own take on poutine. You need to have this poutine is what you need to have.
Yes. I mean, it is, as a Minnesotan speaking here, so basically honorary Canadian, it's like soul food. Like, it's just like comfort food. It hits you. It's warm. It's good when you're drunk. It's not pretentious. It's simple. I mean, like the gravy that they use at Binion's, I'm pretty sure it's that instant mix, but damn, does it hit the spot. It doesn't need to be fancy. It doesn't need to be pretentious. Just good and simple.
I will put a link to the definition of true poutine up in the show notes for this episode so that people actually have an idea of what it is we're talking about. Because I know there's several people listening to this going, I don't know what a poutine is. It doesn't sound good. It doesn't sound, I don't know. It is amazing. It is possibly it's the best food you'll ever eat. It's not good for you, but it's the best food you'll ever eat.
Oh yes. It's proof that God loves us. Like you have to try it if you have not.
And one other spot that you mentioned you had off the strip.
Yes. Another one downtown that I'm quite fond of is, for breakfast. I'm a big breakfast guy, and this is more probably just my personal preference, but it's worth mentioning. Magnolia's at the Four Queens has probably my favorite breakfast you can order anywhere. It's called the Queen's Breakfast. And the reason it's so great is you get bacon and sausage and pancakes and French toast and eggs. Not or, and. So you get a taste of everything And, you know, the portions are reasonable. Like you can clear the plate and you won't feel like shit about yourself, but you also aren't hungry. But I'm really indecisive and I always waffle between all the different options, and you can get a taste of everything there and it hits the spot. I think it's like $8.99 with the player's card. So that's just a personal favorite of mine. Cause you get a little of everything. And then one other breakfast thing that's I think there's a location on the Strip at the Link, downtown at the Plaza, and off Strip. But Hash House A Go-Go is pretty fun if you're going with someone, because their portions are massive. They call it, I think like smashed farm food is what they call it. But they have really good breakfast. They have, you know, really fancy pancakes you can get. They have like red velvet ones, carrot cake pancakes. They have a chicken and waffles that's literally like half of a chicken fried on waffles. I mean, like it's like a mound. Like my friend took a before and after as I was eating it, and it didn't even look like I touched it. So you could very easily go with someone, like if you're going with a friend or significant other. I mean, you could find if you're good with sharing food, find something you both like and split it, and you'll still have leftovers at the end. And the prices for two are pretty good. I mean, they're probably anywhere from like $14 to $17 for an entree. But if you're splitting that two ways, that's a great deal. And they will do buy one, get ones for if you sign up for like their birthday club or anniversaries and stuff like that. You can usually get a buy one, get one even. So that's a great place if you're going with friends and you're comfortable sharing food. And they've just got some fun stuff there. But their drinks are really marked up. So if you must have a drink with your meal, maybe bring one in off the casino floor.
So speaking of drinks, let's talk about drinking as a low roller. I mean, alcohol kind of, I want to say, flows somewhat freely in Las Vegas. And it is pretty easy to score those free drinks if you know what you're doing.
Oh, yes. It's funny you said freely, because it can be, you know, you can get paid to drink, you can get one for free, or you can have a $51 Heineken, as I've had before, depending on how your luck is going. So, you know, I think that the big value here is that you can get free drinks while you're gambling. So they will comp them to you. Comped might be a more accurate term than depending how gambling goes. But as long as you're tipping the cocktail waitress at least $1 or $2 every time she comes, she will keep coming. I mean, I always will stop playing, like make eye contact, treat them like a normal person, you know, be friendly. And it's always appreciated, because it's astounding how rude some people are to them. They won't even look up, won't even stop what they're doing. They'll just bark out an order. But I mean, being friendly to them and tipping, they will definitely keep coming around. For people with, you know, moderate bankroll, or, you know, that just aren't as cheap as me, just, you know, finding a spot you like, sitting there and tipping, the drinks will keep coming as much as you need them. You can order, you know, domestics by the bottle. Some places will have a few things on draft, usually kind of widely distributed stuff like a Goose IPA or something. And then there's a decent amount of like local craft as well. And then, of course, any cocktails. I definitely recommend ordering a call drink rather than, you know, a whiskey Coke. Like, order a Jack and Coke. Best case scenario, they'll say, oh, cool, you got it. Worst case scenario, they'll say, hey, we got to charge you for that, but we can give you so-and-so for free. But if you order just, you know, a well drink, you're basically leaving good alcohol on the table. Right. So it's always worth asking to see what they can comp, especially if you have a favorite liquor that you like. So, like, for example, at the Cromwell, this is a kind of a hidden value. They will comp Woodford Reserve. So, you know, just ask the cocktail waitress what they can comp for your alcohol preferred type, and they'll you know, they'll let you know that. And oh man, they got me pretty good there. They were pouring some heavy pours of that Woodford. I almost missed my flight. But, you know, just be mindful of the fact that for the cocktail waitresses, they have a huge area to cover, and time is money. So don't go, what do you have? You know, be specific, be targeted. Like, ask, you know, what kind of IPAs do you have? What kind of, what do you have on tap? That sort of thing, rather than just, what do you have? They can make most things. They can do kind of the fancy stuff. They might ask you what's in them. So while you're gambling is a great way. If table games, I've found the service tends to be faster. Pai Gow is my hands down recommendation for getting trashed at the tables, because it's you basically sit there and push the whole time, And, you might win, you might lose, but you're basically treading water and drinking liquor the whole time. So Pai Gow is a great way to get into tables. Don't let the $10 or $15 minimum scare you off. And you can buy in with $60 and you'll probably leave with $60. You got to really, really swing bad to lose more than 15 or 30 on a $15 table. And you get more than the value out of it because everyone else is there to drink too. So that's usually the fun tables. Craps can be a good one if you just go there and kind of play the pass line and don't make any sucker bets and don't go too crazy on placing numbers or anything. You can stand there for a while and still ride the gravy train of free drinks. Or this was a strategy that really helped me back in college when I was really on a budget. But I would kind of stake out the cocktail waitress's area that she was going and find a bank of machines a little bit in front of her, sit down and put $1 in and look like I was playing when she walked by, put my order in, and then just, go on my phone, talk with my friends, wait till she came back, tip her and leave. As long as it looks like you're playing when you make your order and when you collect the drink, they really don't care, especially if you're tipping. So you can kind of stake out and snipe a machine. That can work if you're really trying to do a hit and run.
Right.
That's what I'll normally do when I'm getting ready to leave the casino, because I have a personal policy not to walk down the strip without a drink in my hand. So that's a great way to kind of get one on the way out. But really, if you can just kind of stay put at a machine or a table and just kind of play it slow, not gamble too much, which can get harder and harder the more you drink. The cocktail waitresses will take good care of you. You can even, sometimes my friends and I will just post up at machines, pop in a 20, play it really slow, talk when the waitress comes around, make a few bets, and you can stay there. They know what you're doing, but as long as you're tipping, they're not going to do anything. I suspect in future years, as they continue to find ways to penny pinch more and the bean counters continue to take over, they're gonna eventually switch to a ticketed system. So ride it while you can.
Yeah, and they're already starting to go to the red light, green light system with some of the video poker places. I know Caesars has already started that. I think MGM started it as well. And I know they've been talking about slowly bringing that same system to the floor, and they've been testing it at some casinos outside of Vegas. So as you say, ride that train while you can, because I would suspect that it's gonna get derailed very, very shortly.
Oh yeah, it's definitely a smoke 'em while you got them there. But you mentioned video poker. That's a great one too. Even with the red light, green light, if you put a 20 in and you're max betting at quarters, which you should always be max betting, I haven't actually had any issues. I can get pretty crotchety in my cheapskate-ness, but I haven't ever been denied a drink. I like to go play at O'Shea's and get that frozen Bailey's comped. Mm-hmm. And I've never had any issues. I mean, the light stays green as long as you're betting with any frequency. And again, just being a decent person helps a lot too. Bartenders have some discretion. So, they might say, hey, you're kind of slow, step up the play, but I got you this time. Obviously, if you're a dick, the bartenders will be like, sorry, the light's red. They'll look for any reason not to. But, if you're a decent person, you're tipping and you're playing, they'll take care of you. That can be nice because since you're right at the bar, they'll keep them coming. Favorite place to play downtown for video poker, there's two great ones. Main Street Station, there's a bar in the back called the Boar's Head Bar. There's a gigantic bronze pig on the wall. It's right next to the 777 cafe. They'll comp makers at the bar. They have a brewery in the house, so they'll comp you house-made beers. They also have domestics and stuff and whatever you want, but I'll go there for some beers or makers on the rocks. Full paychecks are better. And since you're at the bar, again, if you're friendly, they'll keep them flowing pretty easily. And then my favorite place now is the View Bar upstairs at the D. They've got a progressive on 8-5 full pay bonus poker. And there's progressives for 4 of a kinds and above. So you can play a progressive, have a chance to win more, and the bartender there is awesome, and they're super, super quick on the draw.
Now, I've heard a lot of people talk about the Bird Bar, which was formerly Margaritaville.
Oh, yes. Rest in peace.
R.I.P. Margaritaville. Now, when Margaritaville was around, it was nickel beers, was it not?
It was. That was a glorious time. Like, I just remember, like, you know, I was in college and, you know, I would cash out my 11 cents that was left over from the slot machine and I'd bring it to Bird Bar with $2 and I'd get 2 beers.
And now they've changed it over to the Bird Bar. Still pretty cheap, but not nickel beer.
Yeah, now it's 50-cent beers. It's usually Miller Lite or Coors Light. It's like a rotating domestic, but they're nice. 12 or 16 ounce. I mean, it's like a decent sized plastic cup. They'll let you order 2 at a time, and it's from 5 to 6 every day. And I mean, that's a fun place to meet some people. They got a little like bar rail outside that you can go to. People watching on the strip is incredible. And just kind of the people watching there in general. It's kind of center strip. You get a view of the Bellagio fountains if you look the right way. I love going there. That's actually where I met that friend that I brought to the Flamingo for the pizza. You know, 50-cent beers, the people who know what's up, and you get to talking to them, and it's a fun time.
Yeah, no doubt.
And just for anyone out there who's competitive, record to beat is 6 in the hour.
That's insane. Any other spots along the on the strip or off the strip you recommend for the low roller for the drinking?
Downtown, the downtown cocktail room has an incredible happy hour called the Happy Hour, and it's half off everything on their menu, and it's from 4 to 7 every day. Mm-hmm. And they're a craft cocktail lounge. I mean, it's really classy. They're about, you know, $14 drinks, but you get them for $7, which is a little steep. But I mean, it's liquors you've never heard of, stuff you can't pronounce. They have some really inventive stuff. The bartenders there are all great. I've become a regular of sorts there. And, you know, if you talk with them and tell them what you want, like say, hey, I'm a bourbon fan, I like something smoky, they'll whip it up for you. I mean, they just do great work there. And it's kind of nice to spend that, you know, $6 or $7 and get the experience of a nice little lounge. They kind of have nice music in the background. It's dimly lit. So you get to really feel like a high roller without spending too much. I mean, I can go there and the drinks are strong. I'll have 3 of them and I'm close on my ass and it's only like $21. So, you know.
So we've hit hotels, we've hit food, we've hit booze. I guess the last thing we need to talk about as a low roller is gambling. You've kind of prided yourself on this a little bit and figured out how to, you know, get the most bang for your buck and get the most, make your gambling bankroll go a little bit further. What tips do you have for people? I mean, should people be staying with slots? Should they be doing table games, video poker? As a low roller, what would you recommend for people?
So I think the main thing above all else is to enjoy what you're doing. Because if, you know, realistically, you know, they don't build Caesar's Palace, the Bellagio, Cosmopolitan. They're not building those from giving out money to people gambling. You know, more likely than not, you're going to be making a donation of some amount to the casino. So make sure you're having fun while you're doing it. The free booze helps a lot, but you got to be enjoying what you're playing. Luckily for me, I'm a degenerate and I love everything, but so I've experienced kind of with everything across the board. But, you know, if you just want to play slots, so what that the odds are a little bit worse than playing blackjack. If slots are what get you going, then enjoy those. But, you know, if you're sitting there at the machine and you just feel like you're feeding 20s into an abyss, then maybe try a table game or do something else. But personally, the best values I've found, video poker tends to have the best return for a machine. So if you're looking for likelihood of a win or the ability to play for a while without losing your shirt, video poker is a great way to do it. Start with some jacks or better, learn basic strategy there, and you can expand as you get bored with jacks or better, or you want bigger payouts and more volatility. You can look into the different variants, but finding a good 9-6 jacks or better at the quarter level, always max bet, because if you don't, you're giving up a lot of the return on the royal, the ever elusive royal that we all chase. Mm-hmm. But I would say bar top video poker at quarters is a great value. For table games, the minimums can scare people off sometimes because they tend to be higher. A $5 minimum is about as low as you're going to find in Vegas. For blackjack, you're looking for 3-2 rather than 6-5, which means that you're getting $7.50 on a $5 bet for blackjack instead of $6. And that scales up, of course, as you bet more. But 3-2 is the way to go there. You can find good $5 3-2 downtown, and at Ellis Island, you're going to have to settle for 6-5 on the strip unless you're looking at 10 or 15 bucks a hand for blackjack, which is a bit rich for my low roller blood. Mm-hmm. Like I said earlier, Pai Gow is a great way to tread water at a table, kind of get your feet wet. $10 or $15 minimum. If you don't do the side bets, people at the table will yell at you. The 1 in a million chance you get a hand that would actually pay, but those are kind of a slow bleed. But if you just stick to the base bet, you can be there for a while. And then slots. The big thing to watch out there, because everyone's always like, "Oh, I'm going to play the penny slots," but if you're not careful, you can bet 20 bucks a hand on slots without even knowing.
Yes, you can.
This is my public service announcement to all of the listeners here, and I go into it in more detail on Viva Las Value of kind of how it goes. But the first thing you should look at when you sit down at a slot is the denomination. So that can be penny slots, nickel slots, 2-cent slots, sometimes 10-cent slots, quarter slots, dollar slots, $5 slots, $25 slots, $100 slots. And that's what one credit is. And keep in mind, you're betting more than one credit every spin.
Yeah.
Unless you're playing the big buck, like $1,000 credit slots where it's like one line, you're betting more than one credit a spin. So the penny slots, typically with those, your minimum bet's going to end up being like 40 credits, all the way up to some of them. I mean, they're up to like $4 or $6 now. I think there's even some that are like that. Like Chinese one is like $8.88 a spin.
I was going to say there's one that's like $8.80 a spin, and yeah, I will freely admit to having been stung by that myself, where you pop a 20 into a machine, into a penny slot. And of course, as you say, I mean, you always play max bet. That's where how you're going to make the most money. That's how you're going to get your jackpots, whatever. And you put your 20 in and you hit max bet, and you look and go, well, how do I all of a sudden have $2 left?
Well, I can tell you the worst one is when you hit the max bet and it makes that ding that says like insufficient credit. And then you can't get it back because it's already wagered. So you got to feed more into it to get your damn max bet. I did that on video poker once.
So yeah, that is, like you say, that's always a big thing, is I'm going to play the penny slots, but yeah, you got to make sure you know what it is you're betting.
So yeah, just kind of sit down and look at it first before you put the money in. If you're a beginner, I always tell my friends when I bring them for the first time, break your money into $5 bills. So the worst you're going to be out is $5, even if you do fuck up.
Yeah.
Cause it's really depressing to just be like, what happened? My money's gone. And that's also a good strategy if you're drinking heavily, because I tend to hit the slots at the end of the night when I just kind of want to watch some bright colors and lights and stuff and get some music. The Britney Spears ones are my guilty pleasure there, because the seat rumbles and it plays the songs and she comes out in like all the different era outfits, and it's a pretty fun time. But talk about self-loathing. It's like, damn it, I gave Britney another 40 last night.
Yeah, exactly.
We just call it the Britney donation at this point.
That's mine with the share machine. It's like, sit down and play the share machine. If I could turn back time. Yeah, if I could turn back time, I wouldn't have put $20 in this machine.
Yeah, I would take all of my money out of this.
Yeah, exactly.
But I will say one thing too, in terms of betting on the slot machines, I mean, you'll get tons of different advice. Betting max is absolutely the way to guarantee the jackpots if you hit them, or the highest payout, but you also are risking a lot more. So if you're really on a low roller, I mean, kind of be realistic about how much you have and how, if you're looking for a big hit, then yeah, bet max bet. But if you're trying to nurse your, $50 all day, like, it can be worth swallowing your pride and going minimum bet. Sure, you might rule out the jackpot, but you're still going to be, if you by some fluke hit the winning combo, you're still going to get a handsome payout. It just won't be, it generally will scale. Mm-hmm. So, the only time you should absolutely be doing max bet on slots is if you're doing like Megabucks or Wheel of Fortune. make sure you're doing max bet on those because, you know, God forbid you hit the 3 Wheel of Fortunes or the 3 megabucks and you're only betting $1.
Yeah.
Because then you get like 10 grand instead of the, you know, progressive. Because so much of the return on those is coming from the progressive that you got to be going for the progressive if you're playing. Same with video poker. You absolutely have to max bet on video poker. If you can't do $1.25 a hand, find a nickel machine to be betting a quarter. Don't be, you know, dicking around with like 2 credits on a quarter video poker machine.
Excellent. Well, I mean, we have covered a lot and we have thrown a lot of advice out. Of course, let's talk about the website briefly. Your website, vivalasvalue.com, up and running, going well. Lots of great information on there as well.
Yes, I threw out a ton of jargon there. If that doesn't make sense, I have guides about each game on there, about the denominations, about the players' cards, kind of everything we talked about. If you poke around on the website, I've got some stuff written about it. And if you go there and you're like, what the hell, Sergio, you lied to me and that's not there, I have a place on there to either leave comments or ask for something I call vice advice, which is basically asking for answers to whatever questions you may have about Vegas. And I can't guarantee it will be the best, but it'll be based on my experience. And I'm more than happy to do that. I was talking earlier with Jeff. I've kind of been in a hiatus with the site since I started a new job in a new state, and I've been settling back in, but I'd love to get back into the groove of things. So please visit it. And if you see something missing and you want some content or you have some questions that aren't answered, go ahead and ask me, shoot me a message, get in touch. I'm on Twitter, Viva Las Value as well. You know, get in touch with me. I'd love to have an excuse to get writing for the site again or to answer your questions because it's super satisfying to be able to help someone. That's where the site came from. We talked on it way back. What was it, Jeff? Like episode 14?
Episode number 14, yeah.
Yeah, we talked about where the site came from, and it was just all my friends were coming to me saying, hey, I'm going to go to Vegas or I'm going to go to the casino. Like, give me some tips. And I was like, let's bring this to a wider audience. So I love to help corrupt a new wave of people and turn them on to the vices of gambling. So please help me help you do that by asking any questions that aren't answered on there.
Well, Sergio, it's been an absolute pleasure having you back on the podcast. I appreciate you taking the time to join me and to chat, and look forward to having you back on again, and look forward to connecting with you in Vegas at some point soon.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure every time. We're going to have to coordinate that Vegas trip.
Definitely.
Always looking for an excuse to get out there.
Definitely. Thanks so much, Sergio.
Of course. Thank you, Jeff.
If you want to check out Sergio's tips and tricks for living life like a high roller on a low roller budget, visit vivalasvalue.com and be sure to follow Sergio on Twitter and Facebook at Viva Las Value. And that puts the wraps on another episode of the podcast. If you've got feedback on this episode of the show, or you're after suggestions on where to stay, where to eat, what to see, and what to do on your next Las Vegas vacation, or you've got ideas for topics you'd like me to cover on the podcast, feel free to reach out to me via Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram at Jeff Does Vegas, or email me directly at jeff@walkernewmedia.com. As for my next Las Vegas trip, the countdown is on. I'm a little over 2 weeks away from a quick in and out to watch my 2 favorite hockey teams in action at T-Mobile Arena, the Winnipeg Jets and the Vegas Golden Knights, on Saturday, November 2nd. After that, I'm hoping for a sneaky little trip at the end of November, followed by my annual birthday trip in December. In the meantime, thank you for listening. Be sure to subscribe for free wherever you get your podcasts so you'll know the moment new episodes are available. Make sure to rate and review the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and Podbean. And don't forget to visit jeffdoesvegas.com for past episodes and show notes. My name is Jeff, and this has been episode number 39 of the Jeff Does Vegas podcast, a Walker New Media production.